Good morning, ma'am. My name is THINESWAR, son of Madhivanan. My metric number is 10DEE20F2044. So now I'm going to present about the topic of troubleshoot of electronic circuit. So a bit introduction of a troubleshooting. Okay, troubleshooting is a technique used for tracing out, identifying, and fixing the most common problems that occur is an electronic circuit resulting and it is multifunctioning. So now we're going to see the procedure of a troubleshoot of electronic circuit. The first step was confirm the problem in the circuit. So start the troubleshooting process only after confirming this problem in the circuit, which may be about the desired result or improper working condition of the circuit. So second step was consider visual inspection first. This step might be involved in getting physical contact with the circuit, so it is better to remove the power supply to the circuit and wait for some time to discharge current in some components so that you can hold it without fearing. So here I share about the some step in visual inspection first. Is check for the exploded or burned parts of the circuit by seeing and smelling them. Look for the loose and bad condition or also check the grounded part. And check for the overlap traces on the PCB board. And check the and observe the solder points whether they are correctly soldered or not. And check for the shorts and touches on the adjacent solder points. And here we need to understand that if one of the thing that I mentioned is condition is require and it's immediate repair, then go for the repair action like desoldering and shorted points. Desoldering the shorted points and soldering the loose part or the connections. Replacing the burn components with the new ones. If not, it has to be confirmed that the problem in the circuit is a major one. And now you can go to proceed through the below steps, which means the third step. So the third step was select the troubleshooting tools. Troubleshooting process involved the checking the internal voltage across different components and devices in the circuit. It means checking the continuity of the current for open circuit faults. Components like resistor, capacitor, transistor, and lights, and their status checking whether they are functioning or not, and so on. So here are some tools are like digital or analog multimeter, oscilloscope, LCD meters, and variable power supply with the meter indication. And the next step was power up the circuit. It is it has to be before checking with the above tools, like plug the circuit to the main power supply so that it's possible to test in the different ways. And the next step was check the power supply blocks, which means keep the multimeter probes across the transformer diodes, capacitor, and regulator IC, and check whether appropriate values are found or not by inserting the multimeter in reverse mode. And number 6 is And the next step was check the individual components, which means check the voltages across individual component. And if any component doesn't show any voltage across it, then switch off the supply. And then again test the component by respective meters like LCR or for capacitor, diode by multimeter, and so on. And the next step was check the main controller, which means test the main controller base power supply with the respect to the ground without placing the controller on it, and also check whether some pins are shorted or not. Whether some pins are shorted or not for the special ICs like timer and amperes, and for the microcontroller. Check respective power supply pins voltage and place IC on the base and give the input for the controller, and then check whether the output controllers with output control signal are coming or not at the appropriate pins. And finally, this might have to do after we done all the thing, which means check the loads by meter power supply. Because check the outputs by removing the main controller like a microcontroller signal to final control devices and apply meter power supply so that the problem area can be easily recognized. So that's all from me. Thank you, man.